Hello everybody, my name is Josef Fares and I'm the writer-director of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I'm gonna give you a cool walkthrough of the game and give you some insights and fun facts throughout the development of the game. Excuse my English, I'm originated from Lebanon, so that's why I have kind of Arabic English style. But you will hear, actually talking about Arabic English and Arabic language, the language for Brothers is actually inspired by my own language in Arabic, and you will actually, people who listen to this and understand Arabic will understand some words. So this will be quite a long time actually, I prayed Brothers, because this is almost a year after we finished the game, but let's see what happens. It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna try to tell you as much stories, as much fun as I can. So just a little bit about myself and my background. I am normally a filmmaker, so this is actually my first game, and took a lot of time to make it happen, and it was a absolutely amazing experience to make a video game, but so hard. I mean, I've done 5 features, but that's a walk in the park compared to this. Again, in Brothers, we didn't want to have a actually spoken language, and the reason of that is that I really like the interactivity of gaming. That's what keeps me going. So the idea was to actually keep everything like a made-up language to make the player, guess, and almost in a way more interactive, because trying to figure out what they're saying, reading their language. So that's part of the reasons. Also, another reason is because we didn't have so much money, so we couldn't actually hire any actors.
Nayi! Nayi!
Nayi. Ta. In Arabic you say ta, that means come here.
Ata Nayi! Ata!
What's interesting also, I mean, we have a lot of challenges with this game, but interesting thing is that most of the stuff that you see in the animation, mocap, is actually done by me. And I'm saying big brother, little brother, father, and pretty much every creature in the game, even the girls, is done by me, because again, we didn't have the money to, we couldn't afford any actors, so I had to jump in a, black suit with different dots on it and just do it. So you hold in triggers and you start to walk. You actually can interact with this one. If you see like how brother smells it like this, and when little brother interact, he's kind of like, and remember this interaction, because I will come to this at the end and talk about something else. The graphics, I'm really happy with Brothers. I can tell you like one thing in Brothers, we have like unique stuff all the time. Like for instance, this wagon, we had so much bug with this one, it's crazy. I mean, for me, doing the first game, people who like, is not developers, all the developers know this, but it's crazy how games are in the beginning. I was so frustrated. I was like, what? It's not going well, and it's like really buggy, but that's because I was very inexperienced at that time. So the idea was to like tell the story between with animations, how they react, how they handle, how they talk, and how they are, and with less with as little like let's see now, he doesn't want to grab. Come on, big brother. Yep, there he goes. With as little like dialogue and stuff as possible. So we try to make as a clean experience as possible. Here we're gonna put him up there. You can see me. It's actually my sound coughing of the father. Look here, listen here. Almost sounds like him actually. This is actually the only thing we have as repetition in Brothers, and that's also a point for that, which I'm gonna come to. Obviously, people who will listen to my commentary is people who have like played through the game. I hope, please don't look at this if you haven't played through it, because I will destroy the whole experience for you. I mean, not destroy it, it will probably be interesting in many ways, but I will spoil everything for you. This is such a passion project that really was a pain in the ass to get through, because like the problem with this game was like in many ways it was quite different. It's a game that haven't been tried before. I was new in the business, people knew me for making movies, so it was really hard to tell the companies that that would really could pull this off. So it was like really tough, but I'm really happy. And all the pre-reviews we got, all the reactions we got before the game was like very bad. But I didn't care. I really believed in this one. And I'm so happy that the success of Brothers, which is kind of crazy for me doing the first game, is really awesome. So again here, like telling the story without any dialogue. And once we started to do that, we realized that actually, you know, many of the people have reacted a lot for the story of Brothers. And really, it's extremely simple story. It's about two brothers and they're gonna save their father. And people has been really hit by the story, and they don't actually understand anything of this, what they're saying. But at the same time, you can sense a feeling of what's going on. And the idea is, again, to interact and learn, to get to learn the brother. Like, for instance, here, if I go with Big Brother, now many people have missed this, you will get a reaction. And Little Brother does something else. So there were like unique animations of every brother for everything you interact with. We also were thinking of like, you know, because I've seen some playthrough when people play on YouTube and stuff, and you can see that a lot of people miss a lot of stuff to interact to. And we tried with different ideas to put some kind of like a point or some kind of light or HUD or whatever to tell the player like, here you can interact, but that couldn't work. And this, of course, if you look closely in the beginning, you have the mother scene where their mother has drowned when he's young, and that's part of the reason why he's scared of swimming. So his big brother's like, I can help you. And it's really quite like you understand from the body language like what's going on and what's not going on. Here's actually the dog. I'm gonna show. This dog is called Siv. And it's actually my ex-dog. She's really cool. There she is. We just took a picture of her and we made like a model of that dog. Really nice dog. Actually, I didn't like dogs before these dogs. Now I love all dogs. One thing also with Brother that was really hard to work is the camera. Now you see here the camera, if I go up like this, maybe it's a bad place to show. You see that the camera will like try to place the right brother on the right side. You see here, if I go like this, again the camera will try to place big brother left side, little brother right side to give you the right stick on the right brother. Before, in the beginning of production, we tried to do it that it puts the right brother on the right side even if they were close like this. But the camera spinned so much, it was like experience like this almost, and people got very dizzy. Here's actually, I like actually this guy in the background. He seems angry. Look here when he's gonna knock on the door. Who knows what goes on there? Oh, he's not knocked. Yeah, there he is. I just think he's funny. Yep, I like that guy. He's cool. I'm really happy with the visuals. Really, really happy. The team has done a great job. I mean, we had some really great artists, especially our art director, Claes Engdahl, and of course, level designer, Filip Kolianos, and Pontus, who was another great senior artist. I mean, they're really great people, you know. Here we come to this guard, and if you go with the little brother, he will like splash this on him. And actually, you can't proceed, so you have to interact with the... If you go with him again, he will just, you know, make fun of him, so you have to go with Big Brother too. And again, if someone understands Arabic, it's funny what's it. When Hadi, that means, like, where is that? But it's not like taken directly from the Arabic language, just inspired. And the reason for that is also like to make up your own language, to make it sound good, it's very hard. So I took the Arabic language, just changed it, which I think made people, you know, accept it. But because just making up whatever language, I think could sound really weird. So now we are in chapter 1 in the game. When Hadi? Where is that? Wanada. Oh, cool. And the little brother is, of course, much more playful. And here you have something else you can interact with also, like, yep. But the little brother, he can like, yeah, there we forgot a sound actually. That's funny. We don't have any sound there. Never saw that before. Interesting. All right. Now we know that. Too late to fix, but anyway. There's a... Here's one. When you push the big brother button, he will actually point where to go because we don't have any map, as you see. Go in the huddle as possible. Now this girl playing basketball for some reason, it's actually a trophy. When you go up here and throw it down the well, you get a trophy. And the idea with the trophies was to make them like different stories, not to have like things you collect and different stuff. It was more fun for us to make them like short, funny stories. Here's another one. Look here, for instance, if you interact with Big Brother, it's actually an outdoor toilet. You can see that he's like, it smells really bad. and you go with the little brother. Of course, he's. This actually sounds like the same. It is the same guy that was in the earlier part, like knocking on the door. Maybe he went to the bathroom now. Let's get up here to the drunken guy. This was actually a scene which I think that was some like tried to take it away because it's a kid and he's drink alcohol, but we didn't take it away. So that's because he's not really drinking, he's just spitting it out. But I remember like someone said, but I didn't really care really. You know, I was like, it's cool, it's funny. Okay, let me show you an example how we spawn the play. Now, if I put the brothers on the wrong side, let's look now. I put the little brother on this side and the big brother there. So the camera walks over, you see the dog, and when the camera comes back, we place them on the right side for you. So this is part of the design that to make like here was like really one tough decision, because here many people didn't understand that they can actually push to whistle to the dog and to get here, and when you come here you can like push with big brother, little brother, and he does that. So many people finish this without doing that actually. But we really didn't want any HUD here. This could be really tricky if you change the camera like this. So again, like with brothers, everything has had to be unique. Like with this dog, I mean, we really wanted to use him here only. And that's pretty much what brothers is about, trying to get unique stuff all the time. Because for me, I really don't like repetitiveness in many games. I mean, we had some repetitive stuff in brothers, but actually if we had more time, we would even not repeat anything. The only thing that was repeating is because of the design, and that's actually when they help each other up and swimming, and that big brother is stronger with some levers. And the auto jumping, of course, was a direct inspiration from, you know, most of the auto jump games. But from what I understand, the first one was Ocarina of Time of Zelda. The reason for that is we only have one button also, so it's kind of automatic. You can't really fail. It will jump for you instantly. Actually, there's one funny thing here. I remember one time, and I came to the job, and a couple of the team, they were laughing. And I was like, what are you laughing for? And what they did was that they had one guy in the beginning of this stage that started to walk. And if you waited here like for 15 minutes, I'm going to show you now. I'm not sure if you can see the house from here. If you waited for 15 minutes, you can see the house in the background. He goes into that house and you hear screaming. And suddenly the whole house starts to burn and people runs out of there. And I was like, you know, I knew that there was something going on, but I was like, come on, we have to take that away. But because what happened? Because this is an emotion experience. What happened if you see that and you know, happen to wait there for 15 minutes? But that was actually in the game a long time. But there's another thing in the game that actually they didn't tell me about, which I'm going to show you right now, which is quite funny actually. Which I'm kind of happy that it's still in the game. Here's actually a fun trophy that I'm going to show you. Now you have this bird here. Again, our trophies are like small stories. So this bird, little brother releases him. Now remember this because we're going to pick him up later. But let me show you this funny. I don't think anyone have seen this. If you pick up one sheep and you start to go around like this, you have to keep going around. Wait, I'm gonna try. Come on. It will soon puke actually. Come on, man. Okay. No, it doesn't want to work, I'm afraid. But it's supposed to work anyway. And he pukes this green puke for some reason. Let's go here. Here another trophy which is quite funny. You see the rabbit? You take the white one with little brother, of course, because and you can put him here. So he turns black. Boom. Now you have another trophy. So he's friends with them now. Let me tell you one thing which is very funny. Actually, the little brother's voice is a girl. Nobody knows about this. I never talked about this before. The voice of a big brother is a guy, and the little brother is a girl. Now, if you listen closely, you will hear it's a girl, actually.
Hey, Maru!
It's actually hard even if you know, but if you listen closely, you'll hear that little brother is a girl. And the reason for that is that I tried boys for both, but boys at that age, they sound kind of similar in their tone. So that's why I used the girl to differentiate their accent. A lot of interactive stuff here, of course. If you want to try, like, you can do this stuff. Yeah, you can go to the door here. Try to open up this door. Yep. Can't open it, too heavy. This again, like, we only use it in this chapter that he's throwing you away. I mean, this took a lot of time to make happen. Imagine all the unique animation, all the stuff that needed to be done here. It was like really crazy. I think that's one of the things that makes Brother such a cool experience, that you get to do different things all the time, like a fairy tale. You want to read new stuff and a new page and everything. Here's another bench we put here to give you like a perspective. Actually, what you see over there is what you're gonna come to later, which I will show you actually when we get there. It's actually at the end of the next chapter. Yeah, so now we are in chapter 2. This is actually the most gamey chapter, I would say. Before the game was finished, this chapter was the chapter that people were like, now I understand what kind of game this is. Because, many people saw this game as a puzzle game, which is kind of is. But for me, it's more about the journey and the experience. But I remember that some was like, shouldn't we do more stuff like this? And I was like, yeah, it's okay to have it in this stage like this, but not the rest of the game. And you will see what I mean by this stage being more like gamey. Now, about the story here, actually, the reason why, because the troll you've encountered before, his wife has been kidnapped by another troll, so he's actually afraid to go to get her himself, so that's why he needs the brother's help. But actually, this stuff I don't like to talk about, because it's better for players. That's the idea, for players to try to, through looking in the environments, to understand what is going on and what is not going on in the world of Brothers. And it's funny also with Brothers, like before this Brothers happened, there was 2 demos before. One demo, actually, I can tell you the story. I had a friend of mine who works in a school where they make like video games, and I've always talked about video games, how much I love them. And he told me like, I have some students, you want to do like a demo or something during the summer? I was like, yeah, that would be awesome. That's pretty much when I came up with the idea for Brothers. And we did a first demo. I wish I could show it to you. And that's the first thing I had, like, having gameplay with this, like carrying some stuff, because the inspiration for Brothers, for me, except these fairy tales, if you look at games, because I'm a huge gamer, but the reason why it's top-down is because I'm a big fan of like all Super Nintendo, top-down RPG games, such as, Zelda, Link to the Past, Secrets of Mana, Lufia, Final Fantasy 3, and all those games. I really love those games, so that's probably, that is the reason why it's a top-down, actually. And the name, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, the idea was that it would only be brothers, and I really don't like A Tale of Two Sons. But we had to, because of like legal stuff, and it was so irritating when we had decided it's going to be called Brothers, but then we had to put something, extra because of the legal stuff, which kind of like pissed me off a little bit, because I really don't like the undertitle A Tale of Two Sons. It doesn't really fit well. Brothers is cool. So please call this game Brothers anyway, even if it's legally not correct. When you have a game with no maps or HUDs it was quite hard to figure out, like, how do we tell the player what to do? Here's an example of that. Like we use the camera to show you that, that she's locked in a cage and she cannot get out, of course. And then, they will go forward and like, react to that, and she will actually touch that lock and point, and the camera continues to the key. And it's kind of the way combining, like, a HUD or telling the player this is what you're supposed to do without using any HUD or anything. And this boss was actually very different before. He had a chain around his neck, And we actually had it playable, but it was too buggy, so we had to change the whole game. So the idea with this boss before was that he had a chain around his neck, and you could actually grab him with one brother and drag him in the and the other brother jumped up on his back, and you could actually, strangle him. And it worked like really good, but we couldn't make it it was like too broken. So we actually had to change the boss. Like this was like couple of months before the actual release of the game, because we didn't make it work. So we made it into this, which is kind of simple but kind of works. But the other boss fight was much more interesting. But I guess like we were over ambitious on that one. But it was also much harder before. Too hard for this game, because again, brother is so much about the journey and the experience, and not about so much about the how hard the game is. And again, it's a fairy tale. So now we leave to chapter 3 very soon, and here the games has a much darker tone, of course. I really like those guys hanging in the sky. What goes on here, all about creating a mysterious and dark world, and there is also, I mean, this game is for me like about the little brother, how he grows up from being a little boy, almost not into a man, but really growing up from a child to a grown-up boy. And it's really fun to see like how people, when they come here, it's kind of like, oh, what's going on with this game? I really like to change the atmosphere and everything, and going much darker with the game. This was, again, this area had like puzzles before where you could actually like burn stuff to open up the way, but became too complicated anyway. So it became more of a mood scene where you just have to wave away some wolves, which just turned out to be good anyway. But I mean, that's common when you make games. You have many ideas, but you have to throw away pretty much half of them. Here we have another trophy. When you look at this, you see a star in the background. A falling star. Where are you? Come on. There it goes. You got another trophy there. It's actually quite amazing how much you understand without understanding the language. It's really cool actually with this game. Everything is so crystal clear. This was where, now you see that Big Brother is locked onto the router. He was free to run around before, but people didn't understand that they had to grab the root over there. And the reason is because we didn't have any HUD or anything. So we had to like pretty much, you can control little brother here, but not Big Brother. Because the only thing you can know is like when you push your button, he holds on. That one you understand that you can hold here. And you see these like root creatures. At the beginning of the game, we had the wolves following them here and trying to grab them from these cliffs. But that was like so hard to get it to work, from like to animate and how they would work. So we just created these creatures, which actually worked much better, I think, because they look kind of scary and it's a fantasy, crazy world. So they fit it very well. They have a little kind of an alien look, I think, which I like a lot, actually. So this is actually Little Brother's dream sequence. I love this scene. I think it's so like, to play a weird dream. It's like it's so nice. I really like it. And here actually it's one of the few times you lose control of Big Brother. You only have the control of Little Brother. You are my heart, she says to him, if you want. Actually, I could pretty much translate the whole game to you, because I know exactly what they say. There is like, when we did the sounds, I had like a script there. So what I did say to the actors, like, this is what you're saying, and this is how to say it. Everything they're saying has a meaning, actually, and has a point, and have something they say. There's the father there. Yeah, and again, getting back to the game, getting a darker tone. This is like definitely one of those parts. actually kills his own brother. Kind of a scary dream. And after this, we enter chapter 4. Here we have another trophy, which I like a lot, which was actually so close of not getting in the game because people like killing themselves and stuff was not allowed, and there were like some issues with the teen rating and stuff like that. But I was like, we can never take this away because it's one of the coolest thing, I think. So here you come here, and you could, there are actually two, you could either save him or like, but if you jump up with little brother here, if you do the opposite, you won't be able because he can't carry him. But if you do this, you hold with big brother, and you can do that. You actually save him. So if you didn't do that, he will actually die. But it's actually quite a story here. You can see here that here's actually his house is burned down, and you can see that it's a kind of like a mother and a child that is dead. So his family is dead. That's why he wants to kill himself. But you can also leave him here, or you can come down here, try to like give him hope for life again. That's what I like about the trophies and brothers. It's like making short stories out of them. That is in the same kind of like story that is in the emotions that is in the game. If you see what's there, it's kind of a instrument that they have in their family, which will like help him to remind him of good times, and he becomes a little happier. So if we put it here with him, he starts, you know, and it makes him happy. It's kind of a small little story that, you know, so he gets like the power to, or the courage to actually bury his family, to help him go forward in his life. So you actually, you know, helped him out, and now he's done it. I found a little story which I like. Now it's interesting, like when people play this game, like you would love the players to play like this because you get the best view. Like if you play here, you get the view of the background. But players could also do this, and then you will get this view. So part of the challenge was trying to make the views quite interesting. But in this case, of course, the other view is much better. But that's like, so in some cases, people get different views and experience. But we couldn't really like choose a view for the player because, again, to place the right brother on the right side was very important for us. Here it's funny actually. Let me show you something. We have a trophy up here, but actually on this table here, you have concepts that I drew of the game, which is like really bad drawn. But if you look closely on the table now, you see on the table, and you can see the one in the middle there is actually, I don't know if it's clear, but it's actually the mother scene that we played before. I'm gonna zoom in and out a little bit. It's the mother scene laying down in a really bad way. You see the big head, the big face. And the other one on the right is a picture of a spider, on the spider boss later that you will see. And then there is, let's see what that one, yeah, and that one on the left is actually the river, when you fly through a river. So you can see the water coming down and everything. They're really stupid looking, but it's fun. We put them in just for fun, actually. Again, here, if you look closely, you can try to find that bird that you released, and here he is. And you actually, so it's kind of like a love story, because you release a bird and then, you know, they get the chance to meet and fall in love. This is also a funny side trophy story, which I really like. And if we had the time, we'd love to do all the trophies like this, like the hangman. But of course, all of that takes a lot of time. But for me, this is what trophies is about, to have a trophy that makes a difference in the world, that means something for the player. This actually was before a plane you flew with. But after a while, we realized that we could actually use the you know, the mechanical brothers to make it much more interesting. And once we did that, it felt so great. This is so much better than just flying a plane, pretty much. Here's one of the places where the checkpoint can be really bad, because you can play for a while and then you can lose on the checkpoint. You have to restart over. Other than that, it's many of the places in Brothers are like very nice when it comes to checkpoints. It's interesting. We will come to a bird soon, which in the beginning he wasn't this nice. It was actually a really cool idea, because they were supposed to like. It was a boss that they were supposed to steal his egg, and stealing the egg, they were supposed to like throw it between each other and like, and you take out this boss by actually killing him. He's hunting you down, and you steal his like egg. And the actual challenge is to, keep this egg between you and get away from the bird, and then the actual bird would die from sorrow. So will actually be killed because he misses his egg and his child. But that proved to be like very hard to do. It was really hard to do. So we had to take it away. So we made the bird into a different kind of characters who helped the brothers out to reach their goal, really. So we made him into that he was in captive, and he saves them like that. But that was actually quite early we took that decision, because we realized quite fast that, this will be way too hard. One have to remember that the team that made Brothers, a lot of them was quite new. I mean, we have some senior people, but most of the guys that did Brothers, like, we had a lot of interns. We had like a lot of guys doing their first game. So this wasn't like the senior people or Brothers. We had a couple, but many of the guys were new. So, but now these guys are of course very skilled. But at that time, like, so for many of us, this was our first game, I would say. Yeah, so now you will see that bird that was in the beginning, he was more of a boss, and he would look differently. We have to change the look of him as well, because he looked like he had a little bit more evil look, but now he has a more nicer look, and now we actually feel for him and supposed to feel sorry for him. And this is actually, from a story-wise, is connected, because you see that, of course, that the brothers are very small, and because there are giants living here, and there's been a war that you will see in the next chapter. You can also look at these pictures. I think many people miss these kind of interactions. So anyway, instead of like having this bird as a boss, he's now a friendly bird. That's gonna help them to reach the goal. First, we thought of like actually controlling the bird, and let the player control the flying of the bird. But that that was gonna be too hard, because like letting people fly everywhere here would be a lot of work to try to build a level where you can actually fly and control. Here's a perfect example where if like the player would play exactly as the developer would want to, that would be really happy. But players like do what they want, so that's why we realized that it would be way too much work to let the player control the bird. So that's why we took it away. And look closely at that feather later. There's a kind of thing a hidden thing here. You see the feather he dropped us. If you take that feather with you, I have it in my hand here, and you release it here, you see that it's flying away. But it will come back later in the game. I will show you where. So now we are in chapter 5, where the game even goes darker in a way. But I'm very happy that people get this puzzle, without explaining anything. That's what I'm really proud about with Brothers. That we don't have to over-explain everything. The people get it after a while. So you have to pretend to be their god to kind of like, because if you don't do that, they will attack you, of course. So you have to be very... I really love those little guys, actually. You can just try to scare them away, like, They're quite stupid, too. So now you're saving this girl who turns out to be not so nice. And actually the idea was her with even more. I mean, it's happening in the game now. But the idea with this girl is that to create this tension between the brothers, that they kind of question each other a little bit, because the big brother will kind of like start to fall in love with her, which we will see in the game also later on. So the brothers is kind of like, you know, what happened to you? She's like, I don't know. And here again, like slowly she will try to like, you know, make the big brother like her, and you can see that the little brother don't like her so much, even in his reaction. He's like, in the beginning, he's more like, okay, sure. You will see actually different steps of how he reacts to her. Here, he's kind of nice, and then you will see later on how he becomes more and more suspicious. Here, actually, you can see that these small people, here are, that you saw before, here are actually like some of them too, hidden here and doing having some kind of a ritual. You see them here. This is also a trophy. A lot of work behind this, and probably not so many players have seen this, but yeah, obviously they have, because it is a trophy. Here are these whales I really like. Yeah, I don't know why I really love this water. It's kind of like beautiful but scary at the same time. Imagine swimming there, that would be awesome. Yeah, look at the girl now, how she's climbing. Look, almost kind of spiderish, you see? And she's like, you know, she's not walking like they do. Look at the girl now again, how she jumps. Jumping in a way which is not kind of like natural that a girl like her should do. Okay, look now. She's like, wow. Yep. Now look how she climbs everywhere. And of course, here you see, if you look closely before, like how she's very happy with the big brother, and he really likes her. He looked like she's like. Hey, look at little brother. He's kind of like, come on, what are you doing? He's like, come on, come on. And the little brother is really feeling that something is strange. So we have the boss scene here, where you actually have to fight the girl. It's kind of creepy boss, actually. You almost feel sorry for this spider. You have to grab out all the legs. But you see that this boss, like, every time she comes, you have to like put the leg so it's like pointed to in the middle. Because like, look how, if you sort of like, here, look the leg now. It's the one from inside, so you can grab, because if it's like too close to the corner, they will cut into the, yeah, it would be very complicated. Let me see here. Boom. You see, she turns around and she points her leg insidewards. Okay, now she's very like, again here, boom, on the inside. And then we have a cutscene that triggers soon. Again in the inside, and now we do this. And then of course she stabs the brother. This is actually what kills the brother. You see his color in his face and everything changes. And the idea here is that the father can actually sense that something is going on, is trying to help them, but obviously he's very sick and cannot do it, so. But he feels there's something going on. The connection between families. Okay, now we're very close to the finding the actual cure for the father. And here's like one of the hardest moments in the game, actually. So now little brother comes to the, you know, to the cure where he can find the cure for his father, but he's also like, you know, the big brother is downstairs, like down waiting, and he's very, very bad. And this scene was, of course, very, very hard to make. I mean, just to record it with the sound and everything, the actors is really crying for real here, because to get the authenticity of the scene. But it was important to make, because this is like, one of the most important scene of Brothers is the actual like ground design of Brothers, to controlling like two brothers with one stick, and then you literally like lose your left hand and left stick to feel that there's a loss, a physical loss for the player who's controlling the brothers. So this is a very hard part, which actually was very tough to record. And for me it's even more personal, because when I used to live in Lebanon, I moved to Sweden when I was 10 years old. And my mother, you know, I really want a little brother, and my mother has had like a lot of miscarriages all the time, like almost 4 or 5 times. And I think on the 4th time, you know, when she had miscarriage again, she actually asked me to bury my little brother myself. So me and my sister went out to bury my little brother. So that was very hard for me. But I mean, this scene is kind of like inspired from my own life, you could say. So it was very hard, especially to play this scene now when it's done, because it's been a while. It's much harder. But I'm really proud of like the scene and how it's working. I love these fantasies also in my movies, especially one called Zozo, which is like inspired from my own life. You have a lot of fantasy going on. Like this, like he fantasized that Big Brother is back to life. Actually, I think many players have played here like thought, oh my god, it can't be true that Big Brother will die, but that was the point of the whole game. And you will understand also another design decision that's coming later, which I think is actually what makes Brothers what it is today, actually, which I'm so proud of. This is like, I remember the first night I was in a hotel room when I came up with Brothers, the concept of Brothers. This scene was like one of the first scenes, you know, that came up in my mind, like, you know, that you actually have to bury your own brother. But of course there was a lot of challenge to make it happen and make it, you know, visually clear what to do and how to control, and obviously understand now why we can't have any HUDs and all these kind of weird stuff on the screen right now. That's also one of the reasons why we want the experience to be as clean as possible, not to get away from the illusion that you're actually, you know, in this world. It's so clean, like you don't see anything, and it's not so often you have games where it's like super clean in the whole screen. Actually, if you stop and you push the button, it will start and cry, and the controller will shake, you know, but you can release and hold on to the... This scene, of course, was like very important that we didn't have any bugs or crashes and stuff like that, so, because it's like the most important scene of the whole game. So you literally have to drag down your brother, and you can see that we have 4 piles in the background, and we help the player as much as we can here, make them understand that you have to go and push in that pile. So we pretty much take the controller over from the player from right about now, and, you know, so we place the player behind one of the piles, so we don't get any, you know, we really don't want to end up, this was very important to keep it flow and keep it flowing, so the players didn't really say like, oh, what am I supposed to do here? So and I think we really succeeded, because I've seen some people play this and they're really like emotionally, you know, it's emotionally very heavy, so they quite understand. And I love the pacing that it goes so slowly here. I think it works really well. And now you really feel that you're not using your left hand again, and I'm so proud of. It's so cool that you're really feeling that you're missing one hand, really. Now you have the bird coming back. I'm gonna leave it up to interpretations here. I know exactly why he's back and what's going on, but it's more fun for you out there to figure it out. In a way, I think it's quite obvious, but I mean, So now we are in the last bit of the game. It's funny also, I'm talking all the time about the little brother and how playful he is and how he later becomes more and more like serious in the game. And while I'm playing this right now, I mean, I've already talked that I've experienced burying my own little brother and stuff. And it's funny, it's like I'm kind of realizing that this is very much my story and I am the little brother. Because I kind of started kind of playful in the beginning of the game, and now I feel like quite emotionally, you know, heavy. I have a like big thing on my chest, if you know what I mean. But anyway, to get back to the design, this is actually the biggest design issue. I could literally not sleep when I came up with this. I even remember that time. Now I remember that little brother could not swim, of course. This is very important. He could not swim. He don't have the courage, and he always like felt that it's his fault that his mother drowned. And his mother comes up, and she tells him like, "Come on, you can do it. You can do this. Continue." And here's the thing: because you're only using the right stick to control, and you only have the right trigger of the little brother. Coming up, that you have to push the left trigger, it's actually the dead brother's button, to get the strength to continue on your own, was for me like wow. Because for me it was like making character growth in an interactive way and making it like by pushing a button. And that's, I think, was the moment that was the real wow moment. I remember when I came up with this, I couldn't sleep. I was like up all night, and I came in the day after to the team. I was like, okay guys, you were gonna go nuts. And when I tell them that, you know, they were like, wow. And this is for everyone. I think this moment is the big moment. So when I push the right trigger, he just cries, he can't. But when I push left trigger, you see the camera goes down a little bit, kind of to show that something is happening. It gets more strange. You hear the big brother's voice in the background, and the controls start to shake. So you literally have to push the big brother's button to get the strength. Once you do that, you can swim on your own. Otherwise, you can't. So you look like you're literally feeling the strength of like Big Brother inside you. And I'm so proud of this moment. It's crazy. So we are like in the ending scene. This was actually supposed just to be a cutscene, but we changed it so you actually can make the last walk up to your father, which I think was very good to like give the player kind of like a, because there's so much emotions here. Hopefully if you have played everything through, they will feel it. So you give the player the last part where you control the little brother. And I will also show you the very important thing. Like remember, like in the beginning of the game when we interacted with that flower and he like kicked it down, and look now how he reacts to the same thing. So he's like, it's really the story about the little brother, how he grows into another person. So I'm gonna go up to the same flower actually and see how his reaction is. Let's go up to the, here's actually when we started the game, we put the father in the wagon, and here you have that. So if I interact now, he will react more mature and smell it like the big brother did. And once I come here, it's actually exactly where the games started and where the game menu is. And you can see here also that, you know, that is almost like the father who's breaking up and the little brothers who's come out as the stronger character here. So this is the end of the game. I hope you enjoyed me talking about this, and I hope you enjoyed the game. And I'm looking forward to create a new game with the whole team of brothers at the new studio called Hazelight. Have a great one, everybody. Thank you.